Not every research article you find online is trustworthy, so you need a simple way to quickly judge whether it is real academic work or low-quality information. 5 signs of a highly credible article. It is peer-reviewed in a scholarly journal. A credible research article is published in a peer-reviewed journal, meaning other subject experts, called reviewers, have evaluated the study before publication. These reviewers check the research design, data analysis, and conclusions for errors or bias. For example, journals like The Lancet, Nature, or Journal of Clinical Nursing use strict peer review systems. You can verify this by checking the journal's peer review policy or editorial process section. If a study is not peer-reviewed, it is usually considered a lower level of evidence, often called a non-scholarly source or gray literature. Clear academic structure, IMRaD format. Credible studies follow a standardized structure known as IMRaD: introduction, methods, results, and discussion. The methods section is especially important because it explains the research design, sample size, sampling technique, like random sampling or convenience sampling, and instruments used, such as surveys, lab tests, or clinical scales like the Likert scale. For example, this study on anxiety in adults clearly mentions sample size like 2,740 adult patients, design like Criterion Standard Study, and tool name like GAD-7 scale. If an article skips methods or only gives opinions, it is not reliable academic research. Strong citations and evidence base. A credible article is built on previous research, meaning it includes in-text citations and a reference list using formats like APA or Vancouver style. You will often see references to databases like PubMed, Scopus, or Google Scholar Index studies. High-quality papers are also frequently cited by other researchers, which can be checked using tools like Citation Count in Google Scholar. Author and institutional transparency. Reliable research clearly identifies its authors, institutional affiliations, and academic credentials such as PhD, Doctor of Medicine, Master of Public Health, or Registered Nurse. Authors are usually linked to recognized universities, hospitals, or research centers like Johns Hopkins University, Harvard Medical School, or World Health Organization collaborating centers. Many credible studies also include Open Researcher and Contributor ID, which uniquely identify researchers across publications. Transparency also includes disclosure statements that specify funding sources such as National Institutes of Health, Horizon Europe grants, or university research funds. Equally important is the conflict of interest declaration, which reveals whether authors have financial ties to pharmaceutical companies, medical device manufacturers, or other stakeholders that could bias results. Some journals also include data availability statements, indicating whether raw datasets are accessible for replication or secondary analysis, which increases research reliability. Legitimate publisher and journal indexing. A credible article is published by recognized academic publishers such as Elsevier, Springer Nature, Wiley, or Oxford University Press. These journals are usually indexed in databases like Scopus, Web of Science, or Directory of Open Access Journals. You can also check journal ranking systems like Scimago Journal Rank. For example, a journal like British Medical Journal is highly ranked, while unknown journals with names that mimic real ones are often predatory and unreliable. High-ranking journals follow ethical publishing guidelines from organizations like Committee on Publication Ethics, ensuring proper handling of plagiarism, data fabrication, and retraction policies. CRAAP Test. The CRAAP test is a checklist used in academic research to quickly evaluate whether a source is trustworthy. It focuses on 5 key areas: currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. Currency: how recent is the research? This checks whether the article is up to date. In fast-changing fields like medicine, nursing, or technology, older studies may be outdated because new evidence replaces old findings. For example, a COVID-19 treatment study from 2020 may not reflect updated clinical guidelines from World Health Organization or Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. You should always check the publication year and whether newer studies confirm or challenge it. Relevance. Relevance checks whether the article actually matches your research question. A credible article should focus on the same population, topic, and setting you need. For example, if your topic is adult hypertension management in primary care, a study on pediatric asthma or veterinary medicine would not be relevant. Authority. Authority refers to who wrote the article and their qualifications. Credible authors usually have academic degrees like PhD, MD, DNP, or RN and are affiliated with recognized institutions such as universities, hospitals, or organizations like the World Health Organization. You should also check if the author has previous publications in the same field and whether the journal lists clear author credentials and affiliations. Accuracy. Accuracy focuses on whether the information is supported by evidence and sound research methods. A strong article will include clear methodology, such as study design, randomized controlled trial, cohort study, cross-sectional study, sample size, n-value, and statistical analysis, p-values, confidence intervals. It should also include citations from reliable databases like PubMed or Scopus. Purpose. Purpose means why the article was written. Credible research is written to inform, educate, or present new scientific findings, not to sell a product or push an opinion. You should check for bias, funding sources, and conflicts of interest. For example, if a pharmaceutical company funds a drug study, that does not automatically make it invalid, but it should be clearly disclosed so readers can evaluate possible bias. Academic journals aim for objectivity, while promotional websites often have persuasive or marketing intent. What to watch out for: red flags, predatory journals and fake publishing. Predatory journals often promise fast publication and charge high fees without real peer review. They may have names similar to real journals but lack indexing in Scopus or PubMed. These journals are often flagged in Beall's list, a known list of questionable publishers, missing methodology, or weak evidence. If a paper does not clearly explain its study design, like sample size, control groups, or data collection tools, it is not scientifically strong. For example, claims like 100% of people agree without statistical testing, like p-values or confidence intervals, are unreliable. No citations or poor references. A research article that does not cite previous studies or only uses outdated or irrelevant sources is weak. Strong academic work always connects to established literature in the field. Sensational or biased language. Scientific writing avoids emotional or exaggerated claims. Phrases like miracle cure, shocking discovery, or proves forever are signs of non-academic or media-style writing rather than research-based evidence. Fake or unclear author information. If you cannot verify the author's academic background or institutional affiliation, or if the paper is anonymous, it should not be trusted as scholarly evidence.